In this video, we will discuss the importance of understanding the reason for why we do things and how this can be used to manipulate us in lines. We will also explore the power of language and how the way we phrase our requests can impact their success. First, it is important to understand that people generally like to have a reason for the things they do. This was demonstrated in a study conducted by Harvard's social psychologist Ellen Langer in 1978. Langer asked people in a library line to use the copier machine if she could cut in front of them because she was in a hurry. This simple request, which included a reason for the request, was successful 94% of the time. However, when Langer changed the way she phrased her request and asked if she could cut in front of them without giving a reason, the success rate dropped to 60%. This demonstrates the power of providing a reason for our actions and how it can make people more likely to comply with our requests. Now, let's talk about how this can be used to manipulate us in lines. Imagine you are standing in a long line at the grocery store. The person behind you taps you on the shoulder and asks if they can go ahead of you because they only have a few items. This request includes a reason and may make you feel inclined to let them go ahead. However, imagine the same scenario, but the person behind you simply asks to go ahead of you without giving a reason. You may be less likely to allow them to cut in front of you because they have not provided a justification for their request. In this way, the use of reasons can be used to manipulate our behavior in lines. By providing a reason for their request, the person behind you is more likely to get what they want. But it's not just the use of reasons that can be used to manipulate us in lines. The way we phrase our requests can also have a significant impact on their success. Let's go back to the example of Langer's requests to use the copier machine. The first request, which included a reason, was much more successful than the second request, which did not provide a reason. The way we phrase our requests can also be used to manipulate us in lines. For example, imagine you are standing in line at a concert and the person behind you asks if they can go ahead of you because they are trying to get closer to the stage. This request may make you feel more inclined to let them go ahead because they are providing a specific reason for their request. On the other hand, if the person behind you simply asks to go ahead without giving a reason, you may be less likely to comply with their request. Here are some additional examples of how the use of reasons and the way we phrase requests can be used to manipulate us in lines. Excuse me, could I go ahead of you in line because I need to pick up a prescription for my sick child? This request includes a reason and may make you feel inclined to let them go ahead because they are providing a specific and compelling reason for their request. Excuse me, could I go ahead of you in line because I'm in a rush? This request also includes a reason, but it may not be as compelling as the first example. You may be less likely to comply with this request because the reason given is not as pressing. Excuse me, could I go ahead of you in line without giving a reason? This request does not provide a reason and may be less successful in convincing you to let them go ahead. In addition to these examples, there is also scientific evidence to support the idea that providing reasons for our actions can increase compliance with requests. One study conducted by researchers at the University of California, Santa Barbara found that people were more likely to comply with requests when a reason was provided, even if the reason was not particularly compelling. The researchers conducted a series of experiments in which participants were asked to perform a variety of tasks, such as filling out a survey or participating in a group discussion. They found that providing a reason for the request increased compliance, regardless of the content of the reason. Overall, these examples and scientific studies showed that the use of reasons and the way we phrase our requests can have a significant impact on their success and can be used to manipulate our behavior in lines. By being aware of these techniques, we can make more informed decisions about whether to comply with requests or not. So next time you're standing in line, remember to think about the reasons being given for requests and how they are being phrased. This can help you recognize when you are being manipulated and make more informed decisions about whether to comply with requests or not.